don't know me from the Chaffey County Economic Development Corporation. I'm honored to be here. I asked Susan if I could have just a few minutes of your time to make a couple of requests. So I want to give you a couple of updates of some exciting things that are happening in the county as far as economic development goes. Wanted to give you a little bit of background on the two requests that I'm going to make, and then answer any questions that you have, if that's okay. So also, I did not anticipate the turnout, so I've got copies of the county profile that we developed this past spring that are available for you. I've got my business cards if you need them, and then one of the requests I want to make has to do with the community survey that you probably heard about several weeks ago through Dre. I'm here to plug it again and kind of give you a little bit more background as to why we need your support on that. First of all, just in terms of updates and as far as economic development goes, the county, as you probably are experiencing or witnessing, I think is one of the hottest counties in the state, if not the country, in terms of growth. You know, I'm in the jobs business, and we're working on a projection of growing another 5% off of an 8,000 job base over the next 3 to 5 years. And if you add the turnover, let's just take a turnover rate of 2 to 3%, we're going to need to fill about 1,000 jobs in the next 5 years. So that is a major concern and initiative that we have, and that's why I'm here to talk with you about a couple things that we're doing. Just a little bit also in terms of updates of what's happening in the county. In addition to being the only county in the state, I believe, to deliver broadband, you know, redundant broadband, which continues to kind of expand. We have a couple of initiatives and businesses that are hopefully going to be coming to town. One is the fact that the county has landed a grant to test unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, if you will, to do surveillance over Sangre de Cristo power lines. So we hope that's a pilot project that we'll be doing in conjunction with the CU School of Aviation to learn more about how we use that technology. So, I mean, that's pretty exciting. We started that conversation about 18 months ago, and we actually have a company here that wants to franchise their business of developing drones to other communities around the state, especially rural communities, on doing surveillance. So that's pretty exciting. You'll be hearing more about that. Secondly, I'm working with the town of Buena Vista and a company, I think I may have mentioned this before, that wants to move and expand a biotech and bioscience company actually in Buena Vista next year. The company does cancer research, so this will be the first bioscience, biotech company we have in the county, and that's exciting, and they're talking about attracting students from the Front Range that would actually do internships up here. And we're also going to be partnering with higher education to see if there are any opportunities for grants and teaching. So just a couple of things that are happening in the county in addition to kind of the ongoing work in expanding the county. What I'm really here to talk about today is how we build a workforce. I think I've mentioned to you before that we are concerned about not only the workforce but also starting with the high schools to develop that pipeline of qualified workers. About a month ago, we were notified by the Daniels Foundation that we've gotten a $30,000 grant from the Daniels Foundation to promote career and technical education, and over half of those monies will be awarded each of the school districts to look at programming and also how we increase the number of students participating in career and technical education. So that's exciting in terms of looking at that opportunity that we have to develop youth. And that brings us, I guess, to the two requests I've had. One is a little offline, but we need to continue to have you complete the community survey. Cameron is part of a group that has worked on that. I think Andrea Cohen came and talked with you a month ago. We've got the deadline coming up, but we need some participation from the community of what you feel the higher education institutions that serve as this area can provide, both Western State, Colorado University, and Colorado Mountain College. And it's critical that we have a voice in their programming, and the survey is going to do that for us. So I've got some copies of the link to the survey that is available to you. So please take the time to complete the survey for all of the reasons that we just discussed. The other request I have is...
a quick question
yes,
on that.
sure.
I got a thing in the mail. Are you also
Yes.
mailing that survey
We
out
are.
to all registered voters?
We
It's not just necessarily doing it online.
That's right. We have
mailed.
mailed it to 8,000 households, but we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to participate. If you have email lists, please notify your friends, send out the link, but we need to have a good response so we can prepare with the higher education institutions what it is we need, in this community. The other request that's part of the grant is that we're going to be working with youth. We had a meeting last week with about a dozen youth from Salida High School. We've been working with the counselor at Buena Vista to really prepare them for the future. Biggest challenge that we have, that the school districts have, is they've got enough on their plate just to get kids through school. We need to make opportunities available for youth to learn about what's out there, and that's what we've been hearing more and more about. So I'm here to ask if there's any interest in a mentorship with a youth, basically providing an opportunity for youth periodically throughout the month just to know more about the world of work. Any employer that has a job shadowing program, a youth can spend 4 to 8 hours just learning about the business that you have, and any work experience or internship programs that you have. The grant requires us to place up to 20 youth this year and at least 30 next year, so we'll be coming back around. But we just started the program and really are interested in having your support for that program. And when I did some work in Denver politically and also in working with the school districts in terms of the challenge they have, it really is true that it's a lot easier to fix a kid than repair an adult. And we really need to make a concerted effort as a community to provide youth with opportunities and experiences to meet the challenges that we have in the workforce. I think you're going to begin to hear more and more the cry from employers that we can't find qualified workers. There just aren't enough of them. So we've been participating with the governor's office in a couple of programs to basically develop the workforce, but it all starts with the youth. So with that, let me stop and answer any questions anybody has about anything. I have one more kind of offline request. A meeting with the president of the Habitat for Humanity board this morning. They are interested in board members, especially from Salida and the southern end of the county, to serve on the Habitat for Humanity board. Another little problem that we have, or challenge we have in the community, is housing, affordable housing. So we're going to be having a roundtable discussion with employers about the middle of June to talk about that issue. But Habitat is certainly part of the solution to our housing issues. So anybody that's interested in serving on the Habitat for Humanity board, please contact me and I'll leave some cards. So, yes?
Update on two projects, the Mount Princeton geothermal to electricity project, and you had also mentioned that, I think last time you were here, there was a group looking to do unmanned aircraft out of our airport.
Let me take the latter first. The unmanned aerial systems is related to that grant that the county received. So we will be hiring an individual to basically oversee that effort. What's needed is what's called a certificate of authorization to fly those unmanned aerial vehicles as part of a research study. So that is proceeding with the county having been awarded the grant. And this $85 billion industry is really starting to explode. Communities around the country are kind of getting into the business, and even that recent mudslide in Mesa County was an example of the use of unmanned aerial vehicles. And they happen to be one of the only counties in the state that has been certified to fly unmanned aerial systems for public safety. But that's underway in the county. The individual that we've talked to who would basically head up the program, we think, I could go and give you a little bit of his background, is retired and is a pilot and was the chief scientist for NORAD. So he's a guy that I'm sure you're going to enjoy hearing from, but that's underway.
And then Mount Princeton.
Mount Princeton, the geothermal, I am in touch with Hank Held, and there is geothermal development occurring around the state. I think the Department of Energy has released a lot of funding recently to explore that. Hank, as I understand it now, is in London raising money. So that's just another one of the projects on the radar screen. But they're raising money for development of those leases that they have. Any other questions anybody has? Yes, anybody?